shed tears. She looked vulnerable. Before I could grasp what was happening, and you can't blame me for that, standing where I was standing. After all, it was the same client's event that I was handling, and the launch was just a few minutes away. And here she was in an avatar I did not understand. As I was trying to comprehend the situation, she burst into tears. Tricky situation. Show instructions being screamed into my ear. I frantically whispered, "What has happened, sweetheart?" And for the next few minutes, all I heard was incessant sobbing, my hand held in a death grip, and console screaming in my ear. Imagine my predicament. I wanted to shake her. I said, "Woman, stop crying. This is not the time to be crying." Or, "Can we please do this afterwards?" Both weren't working. So finally, I cajoled her in whispers to calm down and tell me what had happened to her. Nothing could have prepared me for this. 3 minutes before the launch, she decides to use me as a confession box to kind of let off what was in her heart. Promise me that this is between you and me," she said. "You're like my sister." No, you are my sister. You have to help me." So I said, "Of course, darling, I am your sister. Tell me what's wrong with you first." And she blurts, "I had an affair. And no one can know. Promise me." Then dramatically adds, "I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to commit suicide." And I'm like, "What?" And the earpiece in my ear goes, "2 minutes to launch." Then gathering my wits around me, I whispered back, "Hey, calm down. It's okay. You haven't done anything unheard of." That was not correct, I thought. So correcting myself, I said, "It's fine. We all make mistakes." And she shrieks, "Mistakes? This is not a mistake. This is unethical. This is unheard of. This is so wrong. I'm getting married in a couple of days." In my head, I say, "Yeah, sure, it is unethical. But this is not the time to be telling me about this. This is not the time for realization, woman." So instead I say, "It's fine. I understand that you're feeling terrible. And no, it isn't a crime. It is a mistake and an unintentional one. So let me get over this event. Let's finish this the right way, and then we'll sit and talk about it. Meantime, you don't have to tell anyone about it, and no one will know." And she hums louder and screams again. And I have console whispering in my ear, 1 minute to go. More pleading, and she finally calms down. But to say, "But my fiancé might get to know." No, he will know. Incidentally, the fiancé works in the same organization as she does and is her boss. Now frantic, I ask her, "How? I swear I will never, ever tell anyone." "You certainly won't, so how will he know?" And then she drops the bombshell. "The man I'm having an affair with will." Turns out that this man also works with the both of them. Just as the countdown starts, and 3, 2, 1, roll! Thankfully, the launch went off well as planned. Quickly asking for a colleague to take over, I dragged her to a quiet corner, gave her a hug, a comforting hug, and let her cry her heart out. Then I calmly explained to her that piece of shit that she was having an affair with would never have the balls to go and tell her fiancé about the affair. Because her fiancé might or might not understand it, but that wimp would surely be out of a job in no time. I don't know what finally got through to her. Was it my calm logic? Or was it? No, wait. I saw her eyes transform. I saw the realization dawn on her that she was no longer cornered. She had understood that she could still control the game. She shrugged off my hands. All vulnerability now gone. And she left saying, "Why is there no light on the podium?" Thank you.
The other Ma of Ima, because she's that only. Everyone is darling. Right? Give her a big round of applause. Dear and darling. Only two people she knows in this world. Everyone's either a dear or a darling, but then this is one person who gets it all done. So ultimately she manages to get it done, and she's the only person who confused me in this process by sending me 3 stories. If you want, I can do one. Otherwise, I can do the second, but I may not remember the first part of the first one or the second part of the second. So can I do a third? But ultimately, she decided on a third, which is very different, but also talks of perhaps our growing up years, about the time where we all took up our first jobs and what happened then. Here is Sushma sharing something really unique from her life.
So it was late at night, and there I was in a parking lot with a torchlight in my hand. I was looking frantically, left, to the right. I was looking for 1 penny, just 1 penny. How difficult is it to find 1 penny? It was outside a convenience store. People drop pennies all the time. I went right to the corner, right near the door. I looked for a penny there. There was none. What a horrible way to spend my 21st birthday. Here I am, outside a convenience store, looking for a penny, like a beggar, desolate, tears streaming down my eyes, and my hair was grimy with all the perspiration that was trickling down my neck. It was a struggle to find the penny, but I was no stranger to struggle. I was a student in the United States of America. We are used to struggle. I would struggle for meals all the time. My biggest struggle was lunch. All I could afford was a small bar of Mr. Goodbar, which is a chocolate, and a glass of Coke. And all I could afford for dinner was spaghetti and ketchup. For months at end, I had Coke, Mr. Goodbar for lunch, spaghetti and ketchup for dinner. Months rolled by, and here came my 21st birthday. I'm an adult. Oh wow, it's time to celebrate, isn't it? What better way to celebrate but get myself a slice of bread to go with my dinner. I thought to myself, wow, this slice of bread would really work. You know, Wonder Bread costs 99 cents. Maybe I can just get a slice of bread. 99 cents, I started doing the math and I realized that I had to ration out the dollar. Because I had to ration out the dollar, I could not really afford the 99 cents at that point of time. I was sad. And suddenly I realized, you know what? I have a chiller box. I used to store those little pennies in a chiller box, in my penny jar, and I got excited. I was really excited. I went and I sat down right plumb center in the middle of my very small room. I took my penny jar and I broke it. Out spilled those little pennies, glistening, beautiful pennies, glistening copper. I started counting. 1, 2, 3. Excited because with every count of every penny, I was getting closer to the 99 cents, 99 pennies that I needed for my Wonder Bread. 96, 97, 98. Where was? There was no 99. There was no 99. I looked all over the house
for my 1 penny. I didn't find it. I went hurrying to the convenience store, and here I was, looking for my penny that I did not find. I went to bed that night of my 21st birthday. I went to bed without the penny, but I went to bed with a very firm resolve. I will never be penniless again. And so I worked hard. I worked hard every single day. I started collecting the pennies, and the pennies made dollars, and they became dollars and more dollars, and then all my hard work finally paid off when I found myself managing a video store on Route 4. I made a lot of friends in that video store. I started getting a little more comfortable. Life was easier. I managed to get a little bit more food in my belly. And one day, a very familiar customer, a very well-known customer, walked through the door. And he came to me and he said, "Sushma, do you have $1?" I said, "Of course I have $1. Would you want it?" I thought he wanted it for something. He said, "No, I want to sell you my business. Give me $1, I'll give you my business." And then I thought to myself, why me? So I asked him, why me? And he said, "You know why? Because I think you will make a success of that business." So though I went, I bought his business for $1. And I worked hard. And the dollars became more dollars. And I worked even harder. And those dollars became even more. I must say, I returned back home many years later. And when I returned home, I was $100,000 short of my first $1 million. So me not finding that penny actually was one of the biggest blessings of my life. Thank you very much.
Did she remind you of Nirupa Roy? The value of the penny. That's why I kept it here. The value of the penny was right here. But please give her a huge round of applause. What a fantastic. I'm just pulling your leg. That was fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Brilliant work by all these ladies. And you know, I must tell you that apart from two people for whom stage is second nature, who are performers, the rest of them are possibly doing this for the first time, which is why I want all of you to stand up and give them a huge round of applause. Come on. Been find from amongst you, and Sabas heard this idea for the first time. He was very keen, and he's the one who specifically said, let's make it about the women entrepreneurs and let's get them forward. And honestly, I was like, we always do storytellers as a mixed bag, but hearing these people is, I think, a step in the right direction for a lot of what you intend to do. So I think a lot of what we intend to do with our community, which we'll get to hear of, is going to happen. I'm going to leave the stage to somebody who, she and I often have this joke saying that, you know, we are genuinely mirror images of each other. We used to do some shows together at Host, and after about the first couple of lines, she turns and says, "You decide. Tu lead kar raha hai ki main?" Because we are like that. We are so alpha in presenting things, we always have this. Whenever I need advice, she is the first person I end up calling. I often do the same for her. And we, you know, there is something which goes beyond Delhi days when I used to go to LSR and sing and hope that they would all treat me to something. You know, we have the funniest stories to share. But when I asked her to do a story about her life and events, she said, how can I do one story? I work with all these people, so I'm going to string together a bunch of things that are really special. Ladies and gentlemen, our last woman in events for this evening, the inimitable Mini Mathur.
Actually, shouldn't it be bubbly and vivacious, hostess with the most best Mini Mathur? When are we ever going to get rid of bubbly and vivacious? Because I mostly feel burly and vicious now. So, you know, the thing about being an events person is that you're the one who can fuck it all up. Alright? After months and months of preparations with the brand, the big idea consultants, the event companies, even when the color of the flower arrangement is actually presented to the client on a PowerPoint presentation, I'm the midwife who's got to get the baby out. And I've got to do it right. Thankfully, I have OCD and I carry my OCD onto stage. So whether it is numbering my own cue cards or color correcting it, even color coding them, to going and tilting the teleprompter glass just so that there's no reflection, to correcting all the grammar on the teleprompter with that dada breathing down my neck, trying to push keys faster, to sound testing my own mic, I prefer doing it myself. I even try and handhold and babysit the client before I go into makeup and make sure the CEO's name is correctly pronounced. Alright, that's because I want to be ready for any crisis that may hit. And it always hits me. You know, there are these events which are a joy to host, when everything goes according to plan, where somebody's actually given enough thought to streamline the host's job. So when somebody comes and tells me, you know, we've got the on-cue girls on board, I give them a discount. Because I know that when I look into their eyes, they will know what I'm thinking. They're 2 steps ahead. And I love that because that gives me the speed to actually step over just logistics and bring my A game onto stage. With the backstage management teams, it's a bit like being the specialist surgeon who says scalpel, cotton, thread, and it's all there on cue. But then, from on cue, there's also the no clue events. I've also had the misfortune to host events in Jabalpur and Ludhiana, where I have reached to find that I am expected to do the show flow, the script, the timeline, the artist entry, the stage layout. Pretty much they shoved me onto stage and said, "Mini ma'am, आप बस संभाल लो, आप कर लोगे, आप जैसे भी करना है कर लो बस." And the reason I have not walked out is because from inside, I'm actually a corporate event manager. I just wear a gown and makeup. But actually, in my DNA, does not allow me to leave an event last minute. And I just take it on and I get it on from there. And you know, my life in events has actually always given me surprises. When I first came to Bombay to join MTV as a VJ, I was part of something called the VJ Hunt. I don't know how many of you saw that. But we were expected to showcase our talents in front of the secret, high-powered judges panel. We weren't told who the judges were going to be, and I was like, you know, what is my talent? It is, well, I can color coordinate an Excel word sheet really well. Okay, that's not a talent. But I'm a presenter, and I'm really good at that, and I don't need to know how to do the samba, so to hell with it, I'm going to wear a white dress, and I'm going to play Simi Garewal interviewing Mamta Kulkarni. These are 2 ends of the spectrum, and it's going to be nice. I write a funny, abrasive piece. You have to admit that you can't play Simi Garewal and Mamta Kulkarni at the same time without parodying either, very wickedly. So I prepared this, and the boss, who I could tell didn't like me very much right at the beginning, walked up to me 5 minutes before the event was going to begin, and she said, "Well, Simi Garewal is one of the judges, have fun." And I'm thinking, all right. So I've been had, this is a situation, I'm sure she's going to be drinking champagne while she watches me murder myself on stage. But sometimes you just got to go with it. You just got to go with the plan and hope for the best. And that's exactly what I did. And in those days, people weren't offended so easily. So I actually got picked, I made it to MTV. And, you know, I mean, it was all well, but it's not always according to plan. So once I was doing this event with a really inexperienced co-host who was also this Saas Bahu type TV actor. Don't ask me. I mean, if you want to know, I'll tell you in the end, but not right now. And it was one of those bravery award type of things where lots of politicians and film stars are supposed to come and give awards and give speeches and all of that. It was like one of those mega 120 cue cards type of thing. And nobody knew who would come in when, who doesn't want to be on stage with who. It was all up in the air, and I was promised that once I get onto stage, they're basically going to put all the categories and awards on stage, on cue, prompter cue, and I would deal with that. So I take all my 120 cue cards, take my new co-host onto stage and tell him, "Yahan khade ho jao," and you know, we are on stage. And Murphy's Law attacks. The bulb on the teleprompter goes on the blink. And we suddenly don't know who's coming in, what's happening. And in my fake shrill voice, I'm like, "Are we having fun? Yeah!" I'm trying to get the right cue card out. And
in the confusion between me and my co-host, all the cue cards get knocked down on the floor. All of them, the entire stack, Ankur, I kid you not. So, we have no cue cards, we have no prompter, we have no show flow, we have a co-host who is at sea and the chief minister is in the first row. You can say that again. I sometimes look back on that day and I tell myself, if I can get through that, I can get through bloody anything in life, because I managed to do 3 segments without anything, just by sheer spontaneity and pluck and memory. And I will never forget that day, and that day gives me so much confidence when I think about it, that I pulled that off, and I'm going to pull this off too. Then there was this really awful kind of a semi-filmy co-host, and I have this great luck in having terrible co-hosts who pronounced everybody's name wrong. That just got me thinking. He pronounced everything wrong. And then he had this thing about wanting to stand on a particular side so his right profile would face the camera, which irritated me no end. You see, because events are my turf. I don't negotiate with filmies on my turf. Go make your films, this is my scene. And I get into that alpha male thing that Roshan was mentioning. Anyway, we decided on letting him take turns, and every entry we'd take alternate places. But even then, it's one of those TV shows that you see where you're having a conversation with your co-host, but you're really looking at the teleprompter like this, and क्या तुम्हें लगता है कि तुम्हें अब ये करना चाहिए, with your eyes fixated on prompter, because it would expose his wrong profile. It was so pathetic. And he had this, he wanted to change his tuxedo or suit or whatever thrice in the show. So it so happened that Akshay Kumar was supposed to perform, and I ended up announcing his entry solo, which made him hiss at me because he wanted to do that, but he was busy changing, and Akshay Kumar was hanging from the tarafa. I couldn't hold on any longer. So that's what happened, and it ended in a really weird zone where I figured that this guy is just, I've never hosted a show with him. And I'd just like to tell you, the next incident is also about this really creepy TV actor co-host, and I'd like to tell all of you here, what's with the TV actor thing, man? Why don't you get experienced co-host? Anyway, this creepy guy, he's the guy, that masculine MCP shit where he thinks that all the women co-hosts are there to just announce breaks and sponsors, and they're supposed to just be a foil to your jokes, and that just got my tail up so bad. And he happened to, this is going to sound a little weird, but he happened to sneak up and peek into my room while we were getting ready. I was getting ready, and my makeup woman caught him and called him out, and we shamed him. And we actually did not tell the event organizer in all of this, but I took every line of his on stage. I just let him say hello and good night, and I changed the lines of the interviews, and I had such a high energy event that nobody knew what hit them. And the event organizers didn't get any stress at all. They didn't even know what the shit happened. So I got my own bag. This is my family. I see all of you guys around. I've worked with most of you. I love the energy of live events. I love the uncertainty when I'm in the wings, when we're about to start an event, when we figure, is this going to go all right? And when I'm standing in the last countdown, like Poonam said, 2, 3, 1, and I have my back to the backstage team, and they're looking at me wondering, will she be able to row this boat to the shore in its final stretch? And I had butterflies in my stomach. I think that is the highest high one can ever get in the field, and I'm sure each one of you understands that feeling of, is it all going to go home? Is it going to go home with a bang? And since this is a live event forum, there's no way I'm getting around here without a sponsor mention. No cue cards here, as you can see. I can't possibly end the story without a list of my own sponsor mentions. In this case, it's the teams I have loved working with. Actually, I don't need to see this. On Cue, Encompass, Wizcraft, Percept, Catalyst, Lux, Team Rustic, Poonam right here, Karan Chetri, ESP. I've just loved working with all of you. And I just hope, this industry goes from strength to strength, because it's been my home for so many goddamn years. Have a great night. The events are to your left. Dinner served. The buses will take you back at 8 p.m. And don't forget to check out before 7:30. Good night.
Just turned and told people that the world is going to change if you all do your target for the year. Put your hands together. You're a great brand. By the way, don't have more than 2 drinks. wake up at 7:30. Please check out before 11 and please clear all your dues. Though we love you as a company, right? That's what we do. That's what we do all the time. So that's why I said, Mini, you bring up the rare simply because you've got all these lovely little anecdotes to tell us about all kinds of hosts. But when you talked about those unorganized events and you talked about that backstage management which is poor, what you don't realize, after the army, the greatest character building institution is events. Right? हम वो क्राइसिस में आपको डालते हैं जो कि वो भी नहीं सोच सकते. इसी से तो कैरेक्टर बनता है. So ladies and gentlemen, for all the characteristics of what we do and the characters that we have, many of them you will see after 3 drinks when they go down to a place rightfully called the circus. We are going to a place called the circus. What a great choice, Rahul Gomes. Event managers in a circus. We are a circus. This thing is Nawaz. But ladies and gentlemen, please, one more time, for the very first time we attempted storytellers here. It was all because of the efforts of all these ladies who took time off and came here. Thank you for being a very receptive audience. Thank you for being here. Please get up and give them all a huge round of applause. Because these are the stories that make our life. These are the people who make our industry more vibrant. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Mini. Thank you, Tiska. Thank you, Anushri. Thank you, Tabs. Thank you, Poonam. Thank you, Sushma. It was a real pleasure working with all of you.
And thank you, Roshan.
सर मैंने कहा आपने कुछ किया तो कुछ अच्छा ही आया होगा. So now I know why you're so successful, because you hang out with just pretty intelligent, smart, beautiful ladies. Give them a big round of applause, and I'm going to request Mr. Vivek from Propack to please join us on the stage. And can you get those? Mr. Vivek, if I could just request you, please. Could you please get those answers? Sir. वो सब तो ठीक है, 6 लड़कियों के लिए 2 है.
Mini was fabulous. All of them were good. I think Poonam was great. All of them were good. Fabulous.
World War III was just about to start. I am. You just mentioned you're going to share 2 half. Okay. Subhash sir, the ladies are calling for you.
Roshan and the ladies are calling you.
Thank you everybody. And sir, एक सबसे important announcement हर event की होती है. Ladies and gentlemen, bar was already open वैसे तो, but please, there's more alcohol and there's music, there's entertainment, there's dinner waiting for you at Circus. Thank you everybody. And as somebody rightly mentioned, कल सुबह यार session time पे शुरू करना है. जल्दी जाएं, खाएं पिएं, मस्ती करें, कल सुबह जल्दी से आएं. Thank you, good night, take care everybody. Bye bye. See you on the other side at Circus.